Good luck!
Now we're live! Erin Kennedy. The general craziness of it, the impact on your life.
We have gone through so many stories and we said, you know what? This should not be kept to the two of us. That was so cool.
I want the music to keep going because I was over here like,
I know, I was jamming out. Hey, everybody, welcome to Broken News with Erin and Megan. We're going to be somewhat professional this time because we play professional people on TV, so we can still do it. Huge shout out to Jeremy Ross. Say what?
Only somewhat.
Only, yeah, well, I mean, you can flip it. It's a switch. Thank you to Jeremy Ross, who made that incredible intro for us. He is a successful former TV person as well, who makes awesome videos like that. Check it out. Link in the description. And I think I'm supposed to say, please like and subscribe. And huge thank you, Megan. Did you see how many subscribers we have now on the YouTube?
I was surprised. And my children are actually tracking it on their phones and double checking how many we have too. So they're keeping me updated.
You know, I was actually going to ask Willow because I know she's better at this kind of stuff than I am, but she needs to give us a script for the whole like and subscribe and thanks
I don't know how to do that.
Your friends.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah, we will learn from your children for sure.
We will.
So again, just so many thank yous to people who've reached out to say that they enjoy the show. We have been warmly inundated with people who want to be on as well.
That was surprising to me.
Yeah.
And I love to see that because I think when you jump out of the TV business or otherwise pushed out, whichever the case may be, you kind of always have a little something left to say. If you've ever noticed, when someone leaves, they never get to say goodbye. It's like you're just all of a sudden gone. So there's always something left on the table, kind of. And I think people want to get it out, good or bad.
Well, and I'm sure that we can all share those stories about when we were fired, laid off, or whatever, because that happened when it was during COVID, so it was over the phone. And then Tom had to bring us our clothes to our homes, and all of my neighbors were outside watching me unload, and it was so sad.
It's like a walk of shame minus the walk.
It was so much humble pie that we were eating.
It was. Oh my God.
So we are going to invite our first guest on next week, and that will be Marissa Bailey, who was our morning co-anchor for many moons. And today,
so excited about it.
Me too. And so is Marissa. Today, we're going to walk through our boilerplate questions. And we're also just going to let people know that there are going to be some days we're not going to be able to be live, but it will still be released at 12.
Yes, you will still be able to see us on Fridays at noon. It's just that during the summer, it's cray-cray with the kids and everything going on. So we're going to do our best, but you're going to get one. It just may not be live.
Right. And that's okay. All right. So let's get into our questions. Right, Megan? Oh, and stick around for the end because we reveal our favorite product and hack and/or hack. We have many, but today I'll just be
many.
The
first of many.
Yeah, first of many.
Yeah.
Okay. So Megan, let's walk through some questions here.
I'm ready.
What is the craziest place that you have peed?
Okay, mine was during the tornado that hit Washington, Illinois. The Washington, Illinois tornado. I believe it was an EF4. And I was sent down there to cover the tornado. And there were no bathrooms because the town was leveled. The hotel that we had to stay at was a good 45 minutes away. We were not allowed to leave the area of, I think it was like a Menards or a Home Depot or something like that. All the men could just go along the side of the Home Depot and pee. But like, what am I going to do? And there was no bathroom. And it's a tornado zone. So like, they're not really worried about where you're going to pee. So I had to go in the live truck and pee in the garbage can of the live truck. And as I'm like, this is like so uncomfortable. And I'm like, and then you could see my face. And there were people like walking by waving. And I was like they couldn't see what I was doing, but I knew what I was doing. It was
awful. Sitting there.
Oh my
Who
God.
was your photog?
Oh, I don't even remember. Like, how did I probably blocked it out. It's probably like PTSD P memory or something, but like, I can't even remember because I think we had a few down there at that time. I don't remember who's the live truck
The photogs know how it goes, and you just kindly ask them to leave, and they leave.
That's who recommended that I pee in the live truck.
Right. And I mean, there's, so many reporters who are moms, and then you have to pump in the
Yep.
live truck.
Yep.
And then we're doing another episode, which will be reporting while pregnant, because you and I are both reporting while pregnant, and photogs who would have to literally had a towel in the live truck just in case your water broke in the live truck.
Which did happen to me. So we'll talk about that later.
Yes, that's another episode. Craziest viewer letter or comment, Megan?
Oh my God. There are so many that it is like very difficult to pick one. The one that's sticking out right now is whoever this guy was who would consistently every Friday send me a note about taking pictures with a certain pair of pantyhose on and then taking a picture of my feet and sending it to him. Or like, oh, could you take your shoes off at the end of the show? Like, it was a very big, weird foot thing. And that it was like every Friday for a good year. I was always like,
foot people are very active on social media.
Foot people are going to put themselves out there. They have not got shame in their game.
Yeah. No. Hey, if you don't ask, you're not going to get what you want.
Erin, you could ask me this question every day of the rest of my life, and I probably have another one.
Another one.
Yeah.
Most dangerous assignment.
Oh, God. Like any hurricane I ever covered. I will say that we were out actually driving around in a news van during in Wilmington, North Carolina, driving around going live during the hurricane. Like the eye was going over us at that time. But I was also covering a nor'easter one time in New York, and we were sent down along the Jersey Shore. This might have been actually worse. I felt kind of okay in the hurricane. It was a little dicey. We were all right. Like everyone was real careful, but it's a hurricane, so you never know really what's going to happen. But down along the shore in this nor'easter, and I think I was pregnant at the time, like barely, with Lana. And they wanted me to walk down like near the shore. These waves were like arcing up. And I was like, you know what? I think I'm going to stay right here. And they were like, well, we can't see the waves. Meanwhile, it was also dark. So pretty sure they wouldn't have seen the waves anyway. But like they wanted me to like wade out into the Atlantic Ocean during a nor'easter. So was.
And how comfortable did you feel telling them, no, that's not safe?
Okay. So it was interesting because the photog also knew it wasn't safe.
Yeah.
However, and he didn't want to do it either, but we kept getting phone calls from the assignment desk. And here's the interesting thing. They just want a good shot on the air. They don't know the surroundings that you're in. And sometimes they think you're just being lazy, like you just don't want to do it. You just want to take the easy route. And they don't really understand, like, this is actually dangerous. Now, many people, and they did listen, and I didn't go in and I didn't get in trouble or anything, but it's like you have to stand up for yourself in that moment, because if you don't, your butt's out in the Atlantic floating away to France. You know what I'm saying? Like you really have to put your foot down. And then there's always that thought in the back of your mind that you're going to get in trouble for having done so.
Because oftentimes you do. I mean, oftentimes you will say, I don't feel comfortable doing this. And there will be pushback.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm fine with having that conversation, but it still has to be up to the person who's in the field.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Right. Okay. Tell me you worked in TV news without telling me you worked in TV news.
I can pee in literally 24 seconds flat, in, out, hand wash, everything, and be back like nothing happened.
Okay.
I am like, and here's another one. I could go on forever, but this needs to be a separate episode. But I am always on time. Like if I'm not on time, if I'm not early, I feel late. Because we had to be early, because even though our show started at whatever time, 4:35, whatever it is, you have to be early for the show. And then you have to be early for the early in many cases. So yeah, my craziness with being early and my ability to pee very.
So what's the topic? Because I'm keeping that list. What's that topic?
Which topic?
You said that'll be another show.
This could be just one show. Tell me you worked in TV news. You're right. You're right. That ripple effect goes forever and ever.
Yeah. Right.
Okay. Is it your turn?
TV PTSD, we also call it. No, you have one more.
Oh.
Longest time on air.
This happened multiple times, first of all. All of them were in Miami during hurricanes, because I worked there in the 04-05 season. And it was like Katrina, Rita, Wilma, Jean, Charlie, Francis. I mean, it was insane. It was like my news director at that time told me I had more experience in those 2 hurricane seasons than anyone had had in the last 20 years, just because it ramped up like that.
Right.
Good for me to understand what was going on, but like crazy. So we used to go on 12 on, 12 off shifts. So I was on 12 hours straight, no commercial breaks, no nothing.
Did you have somebody else with you?
It was just me. And
just you?
Yeah. And eventually I think somebody might have come, but like for a very large chunk of that time, it was just me. We did have anchors on the desk, but the problem was nothing had happened yet. We were waiting for Hurricane Wilma to come, but it stalled. So then it was like really just all about when is it coming and what's going to happen when it gets here. There wasn't any news.
Right.
It happened.
So I'm going to teach a little bit of TV news language there. We call that tap dancing.
Yes, we do.
And that's just what it is. We're going to need you to tap dance, Megan. Yeah, we're going to need you to tap dance for about an hour. Mm-hmm. So then you go da, 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 da.
And you sell it like for all your words.
Lots of words with sometimes information, sometimes without information.
Many times without information, or the same words, because you only have so much information, repackaged in a different order and with some new little words thrown in, so it seems different.
Right. But
it's
always easier when you have somebody else to talk to.
Yeah.
Banter.
You used to have people to talk to, usually with the co-anchor.
I did. But another episode, we will do my one co-anchor who fell asleep with me.
Yes, like I was witness to that moment. I get a text from Erin Kennedy who says, "Oh my God, look at the desk."
And you were in the corner. We would text because we couldn't talk.
Well, because that's how we could talk crap to each other back and forth.
Yeah. And you got a picture, but I think that picture has been buried, which is fair and fine.
It should be, but
I looked over and I was like, and I had been in Chicago for maybe 2 months.
No, it wasn't long. You were fresh off the boat from wherever you had come from.
Ohio,
right.
That's another.
I had your back, Erin.
I know you did. Megan, tell me about the financial district. I don't know where it is.
There's a stiff wind coming in from the north.
All right. Now your turn.
Erin, the craziest place you have ever peed.
In an Nalgene, in a car, in a snowstorm.
In an Nalgene.
Better than a trash can, Megan.
How? A wide mouth Nalgene?
Contained. Yes, it was a wide mouth.
Otherwise, I'm extra impressed.
Oh no, it was there. Oh, if you're gonna ask if I still have it, I do.
How did you sanitize this?
It's an Nalgene. They're supposed to be like non-porous.
Okay, what was the snowstorm? Who were you with?
It was we branded all the storms, right? I think we called it the winter debacle in Rhode Island. And it was just so much snow in the middle of an afternoon. Everybody left work at the same time. And so all the highways were jammed with cars and snow.
And you were stuck on said highway?
Yes.
With whom?
With my husband. He was taking me to work.
Oh, well, that's a lot better then.
Yes, no, it was. But I was doing live phoners from the car though.
Right. While you were peeing?
No.
Okay. But it couldn't happen.
I didn't have to wave at anyone or be on the phone, unlike you.
Yeah, we should talk about the time when I had a car accident and they almost wanted me to go live from like the side of the road waiting for the police. They sent a photographer to me just in case I should go live. Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. Craziest letter comment from a viewer,
so something that is part and parcel of being on TV news is what we call jail mail.
Forgot about my jail mail. Dang it.
I don't know how to forget about your jail mail. And that is because apparently in jail, I say this without authority. This is only because it's what I've heard. Okay. Inmates are limited to watching certain programming that is not upsetting or exciting, or
the news is pretty upsetting.
Yeah, but on a different level, right? Yeah. So we would get a lot of jail mail because news was one of the few things that inmates were allowed to watch. And it's always
women that you could see.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It was always classic because the return address was always like county corrections. And then you'd get it and you would always be a little bit nervous about opening it. But I think it had to be screened anyway. So
yes, mine were usually pre-opened.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So not by anybody in the newsroom.
No,
by the jail.
By the jail. By like the warden.
Making sure that you were safe in the newsroom, Megan.
No, not usually.
So, but anyway, I got this lovely note from an inmate who loved me, of course. And he was saying, he was telling me about himself, and he really enjoyed reading. He enjoyed walks on the beach, methamphetamines, and you.
He sounds like a real catch, Erin.
I know, right?
That up.
I sound like I like a lot of those things too.
Thank God you didn't have. I mean, there was not even an option to reply back.
No. Well, I mean, sometimes they send you their address right back, but of course
they do. Yes, my jail letter, which we can talk about another day, did involve a conjugal visit form. We can talk about that later.
He wanted you to fill out the form.
He did, and then later I got.
I'm glad. It's important to follow protocol. I'm glad he was
right. One must go through all the proper channels for these things. Yes,
for the conjugal visits. Yes,
that's right.
Now people know the rest of the story.
Your most dangerous assignment. When did we almost lose you, Erin?
You're
like multiple times.
I've been in many like hot zones. Like you go if there's been like a shooting or a gang shooting, and then there's often rival gangs who show up, and those things escalate quickly. So those, that's kind of almost standard danger.
Sadly, standard danger, but yes.
Sadly, standard danger. My one moment where I actually said no was when I was newly pregnant and they sent me to a hazmat spill.
Stop. What was the did they know you were pregnant, first of all?
Yes. Were they evacuating the said neighborhood that they were sending me to? Yes.
What was spilled?
I don't know, some ammonia leak or it was something that was airborne. Danger.
So send the pregnant woman
to
the hazmat spill where it's not safe for people to breathe. Right. That seems right up the right.
That was the one time I said, guys, I think I'm gonna say no.
Who did they send? They sent someone.
Right.
You know what I mean? I'm not saying you should have done it, because of course you shouldn't have, but like, who's the poor person who had to go?
Right. Yeah. And I think the only reason that I had gall enough to say no is because it wasn't essentially for me, right? It was for my unborn baby. Because otherwise you do say yes. Hazmat spill. All right, let's go.
Right.
I got my gas mask.
Tell me if you felt this way too, but like anytime there was a dangerous situation, it's like, I'm going to be fine because I'm with the news. But like, that's not how it works. Or I'll worry about it later. Yeah, but like later is now. Like you're in it, and
sometimes you're targeted because you are the news. Again, depending on the situation.
We should have someone on who's been targeted, like out on the scene. Guys, it happens all the time. People do not like the media. They come at you. It's like you're just trying to do your job. But that's a whole nother element of danger that we haven't talked about that part yet.
Right. Yeah, we will definitely do that.
Yep. Tell me you worked in TV news without telling me you worked in TV news.
Because each time I discipline my children, it goes like this. Stop doing that. You're going to die. I did a story on a kid who died doing that.
Oh my God, yes. 100%. Because chances are you've
seen on that window. I've done so many stories on kids who fall out windows.
How about when I worked in New York, I would ride the subway to go wherever I was going. And every time I was like, this is the train. This is the moment.
Yeah.
And then I had a conversation with Marissa, I believe, one time where she's like, I feel like that could possibly require medication. And I was like, I don't know. Is that TV PTSD or am I like really full of anxiety?
Both. Because, Yeah.
I think so.
It's going to happen. Yeah.
Your longest time on air
was 13 hours on the desk.
Beat me.
And that was for a school shooting in Ohio. So that was me and Chris Tide. It was Chardon, which sadly enough, I'm sure that a lot of people don't even remember.
No, I don't.
3 students were killed, and it was terribly traumatic. And that was, one of those times when, you're offered counseling afterwards. And it was
13 hours though.
Mm-hmm.
Like, not to get away from what happened in the news that day, which is 50 times worse than anchoring the news in that situation, because obviously, if you're a family member involved or whatever, but like, why did they not bring somebody else in to tag team you guys?
You know, to be honest, I think that so mornings, your morning shift, as you know, we are in the door at 3 a.m. and you're technically done whenever your 11 or noon is done. So we were done at 11:30.
Yeah, most of the time.
But the night side people don't come in until 2 or 3. So there is that afternoon block. So I think, you know, we were on, it like happened in the morning, like it happened right before school started, and we were covering until the afternoon team came in. Yeah.
And by that time, like you're so fried because not only are you talking and you're having to be like on that whole time, but you're exhausted from what it is you're talking about. And then if you have kids and you get home, you got to go right into mommy mode and like survive the rest of the day. Because on that morning shift, if you're exhausted when you go home, chances are there's no nap. And you just like then pick up where everybody else left off. And I hate to say this, but sometimes I felt resentful. No, all the time I felt resentful of people who were sleeping like normal because they're fine like dealing with whatever little stressful things pop up later in the day with the kids or, you know, whatever. But I was like already to here with exhaustion. And then you add that on top.
Right.
It's like, right?
Well, yeah, not to say that. I mean, dealing with any kind of crisis is difficult and hard to cope with, but everything becomes harder when you are eternally exhausted, coming off of an emotionally taxing day. Yeah. We can conclusively say now, Megan, that we are better wives and mothers now that we are not on that shift and not in the business.
100%. Like I have way more patience. Like there was a moment where I thought about, I wasn't even really thinking about it, but I kind of like entertained going back into TV, like went on a couple interviews and stuff, like thinking, oh, maybe I'll do it, you know?
After Chicago. After Chicago.
Yeah. That's right. Like I actually had, I mean, I could easily have gone back in, right? Yeah. But my my son Leo, he was like, please don't, Mom. And I was like, why? And he's like, first of all, he said the sweetest thing ever. He's like, they don't deserve you anyway. I was like, oh, but I said, why don't you want me to go in? And he was like, you were exhausted. You were tired all the time and crabby. And I was like, ooh, yeah, I was like the whole time. It's hard not to be, you know?
It's impossible. And then all the things that you give up because you have to work every holiday, you know, it's different in every place you go, but co-anchors are not allowed to be off on the same time, even Christmas.
Right.
And then it was seniority. So if your co-anchor had more seniority than you did, then they got New Year's Eve, Christmas, Halloween, etc.
There's really very little effort to make it fair. So it's kind of like you have to pay the piper for years and years and years to get to that higher seniority level. But then like chances are you might get fired or you might leave for another job before you can even reach that. So it's literally like a game that you play. And it's every holiday was stressful, every holiday. And there were times when we had to work. I remember Thanksgiving, we were done. There was no later show and we still had to stay. So we're like sitting there just staring at each other like,
no, we weren't, Megan. Tell the honest truth. We were purposely being annoying and loud in the newsroom so that they would send us home. Remember, we were trying to do push-ups on the assignment desk.
It worked, though. They eventually sent us home because we were like,
they're like, all right, you guys.
That's enough. Yeah. That's right. One time I took a nap, though.
Yes. Well, I mean, yes, that should be known. So I think we are coming upon, it is 12:24, Megan.
We didn't even get to our origin stories, Erin.
Oh my goodness, you're right.
But all right, we have to save it for another day.
Well, yeah, we could do that. Let's just start by explaining how TV news works.
Yes.
Which is you have to start in a very small market, which means how many people does your signal reach? And then you kind of work your way up.
Yes.
So quickly, mine was Lubbock, Texas, which was market 147 out of 212. Number 1 is New York, 2 is LA, 3 is Chicago, 212 is Glendive, Montana.
Yes, it is. So do we still remember that though?
I know. If you said a market, I could probably tell you what number it was.
Okay, I'll do one of my markets, Parkersburg, West Virginia.
170.
It was 186 at the time when I was there. Now they fluctuate because if a lot of people move into a certain area, you know, they'll change places or something.
Right.
So
I was in Lubbock, Texas market, 147, reached just over 200,000 people. Then Providence, Rhode Island, which was about market 50 then, and also Southeastern Mass. And then it was Cleveland, Ohio, which was 18, and then Chicago, which was number 3. And I don't remember how many people the signal reaches in. What's the market in, the eyeballs in Chicago?
I don't even know. Like at some point I don't even pay attention because you don't think about it by like the size of the group of people that you're reaching, but it's more like I'm in market 1, I'm in market 3, whatever it may be. Tell me before I say mine, what was your very first salary?
18.
Mine was $17,000 a year.
Mm-hmm.
And I used to cry in the Wendy's line because I was like, can I afford this chili? I don't know. It was
$1. Wasn't it $1?
It was really cheap, but I was still like, should I be saving this money? Like it was tight, man.
So I got a roommate.
Yeah.
And I taught spin classes at the local Gold Gym so I could also get a free membership. And I got paid $11 a class to teach, which was enough to cover my groceries.
Which was probably more than you were making on TV.
Probably, yeah.
We have to talk about that part like on another day or within the scope of interviewing other people who have been through the same thing. My path was Market 186, Parkersburg, West Virginia. Then I went to Baltimore, Maryland. I have no idea the market size because I was working for a broadcasting group who put all the weather people in one central location, and they owned like 86 stations around the country. And we would do the weather from Baltimore for like a bunch of different places. So I think I did like Dayton, Pittsburgh, Vegas, Rochester, Buffalo. I mean, like all over the place. And then I moved from there. I went to Miami. That was super fun. My Miami days were primo. I sometimes
because you were young. You didn't have any kids yet.
Yes. Yeah. That's right. I could sleep. Even though I was on the morning shift, I could go home and take a giant nap if I wanted to. Later, it's just not doable anymore. Just when you have kids and you can't, because then you have to think about someone other than yourself, right? So I left Miami and went to New York, which is market number 1. And it was a great experience for me. Super stressful though, because they put me in, I had only really done weather. I hadn't done a whole lot of stories and stuff. And all of a sudden I had to report and do the weather. So that's a whole nother day's worth of stories, but it worked out fine. And then I went to Chicago after that, which was for me coming home. That was always a goal of mine, but I think I thought maybe it would happen later. But I always said, well, once I get to Chicago, I'll just stay for the rest of my career, which happened to be a little shorter than I assumed.
Really?
No, that's not true.
I figured,
I knew the network.
Oh, well, I mean, I always knew that it would be finite. I mean, the number of women who have longevity in this industry is very small.
Right. But men is a very different story because as you know,
that's why I said women. Yeah.
Aging women looked at very differently than aging men. It's just a thing. It sucks. Yeah. But it's true.
Yeah. So that, I guess we got our origin stories in. Stories in.
I mean, I could just like literally talk to you though for hours about all this.
I know.
But we have to save it so we can bring people back another week and another week and another week. Because this is fun.
It is fun. And we have many guests lined up. If there's any TV people who are watching and would like to be on, reach out. Yeah. We should say again, though, we are streaming on Facebook, your Facebook, my Facebook, the YouTubes. We have our new channel. And again, huge thank yous to everybody who has subscribed and commented. We are reading them all and replying whenever we can.
It means a lot to us because like when you leave that ability to reach so many people, you know, you miss just the connection with people. So it's cool for us to be able to have that again. Like I don't miss all the BS from the TV world, but I miss the connection with the viewers and the people you see on the street and all that kind of thing.
Yeah. Well, and the relationships that we have, because I mean, being in the crucible of third shift with people who see you at your best and worst. Yeah.
Not really.
All right. So we will release the next episode next Friday at noon Central. Marissa Bailey will be our guest. If you would like us to ask,
may run a little longer.
Yeah, I'm sure it will. But if you have any questions for her, send them to us and we'll make sure to ask as well.
Yep.
Anything else?
I've got a lot more, but I'm going to save it. And also everyone should know I'm a little overly dramatic. So sometimes I'm going to say like crazy things, but just dial a little bit of it back. All the stories are true.
That's true.
Names are
well, and I've said this before. I want to make another episode. Libel laws, what a reporter is allowed to do and not do, like legally what you're protected to. But libel, it's not libel if it's true.
That's right.
So as long as we tell the truth, which we are, then we are not open to any libel.
That's
laws.
right.
So there you go.
Nothing but the truth. So we're good.
Yeah. All right. And hey, thanks again to Jeremy Ross. This is our goodbye video from him as well. Megan, everybody, thank you.
See you later.
Bye.